Broadcasting from Hollywood, California, it's Grant's Rants, Hollywood Talk.
It's all about reality TV. OC Housewives are back, but is Kelly Dodd evil? We list our reasons for loving Potomac Housewives. Leah Remini's Scientology series ends in a big way, and Todd Chrisley is an idiot. That and more with Steven of Faces by Bravo now. Let the ranting begin. I am sitting across from Steven at Faces by Bravo on Instagram. If you're following this show, you had to have seen a post that Steven has made. Welcome to the rants.
Thanks for having me.
We are. I feel like we share a similar audience, so
Yes.
This is a really good fit
Absolutely.
for the podcast. Welcome to the show. I mean, I talk to people from all over the world, and you happen to live across the street.
Literally, I was walking over here, and it is like a hop, skip, and a jump. Like, it's insane. How did we not run into each other?
I know. You
like,
truly never
around?
know. Like,
It's crazy.
Who's who and where they live and how far and like what they do. And here you are.
Here we are.
Walking across the street. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the rants. Obviously, we're going to be talking housewives here. So let's get right into it. I want to talk about Real Housewives of Orange County because I am so glad this show is back. Thank God. Season 14 has begun. I want to go over some initial thoughts. What do you think? We're 2 episodes in as of the time of recording this podcast.
Yes. I am actually so excited for OC this season because it's been in a slump for a couple seasons now. I don't know if that's your opinion as well, but I felt for the past couple seasons, we really have not had a lot of authentic drama coming at us. There just wasn't a lot going on. And Shannon's been very sad. I love seeing her in her new skin, feeling confident, going out, having fun. Kelly Dodd's a treasure to me. I think she's hysterical. And I think she'll bring a lot this season. Vicky's demotion, I'm very torn on all of that. For me, I don't feel like Vicky has been the OG of the OC that we've loved for so long these past couple seasons. I feel like she's taken a little bit of a backseat and not really brought as much as a full-time housewife should.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame. The Brooks storyline has still kind of tainted her image.
Yeah.
And she hasn't been the same since.
So, like, last season, for a major example for me was when they were in Mexico, when she should have been, like, turning it up with Tamra and Shannon. She's like, Steve doesn't want me. He wants me to behave. He wants me to be... And I'm
boring.
Like, that's not what we want to see.
No,
we want
reality TV.
Yes, we want to see the true Tres Amigas. Like,
right.
If you guys are the Tres Amigas, I need you partying, going crazy like Tamra and Shannon.
Well, I think that this entire time that Vicky shot season 14, she knew that she could have been in, could have been out. So I think that we're going to see her times 10 because she's going to try to earn that spot, which she unfortunately didn't get, which I shared my thoughts on it. I did a special episode of the Vicky Vigil of Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk. You can listen to it. Just give it a Google search. It's on YouTube. Would love for people to hear if they haven't already. I gave my thoughts on it. I think it's disrespectful.
I agree. That's my other take on it. So I had mixed feelings in the fact that I do feel like she hasn't brought what she used to bring, but if they were going to knock the OG of the OC, of the OG of all of the franchises, essentially, there should have been a bigger casting shakeup because she didn't deserve to be the only one like taking a fall.
Right. And there are people on that show full time that are a lot less dynamic than Vicky who are still there that shouldn't be.
I just felt like
Gina and Emily, in my opinion, who I'm sure are very nice ladies, but you know, I'd rather see Vicky.
Yeah. I think if they were going to take such a big stance and demote her, I think they needed to do a much bigger casting shakeup, like New York season 4, when they knocked 4 housewives or something like that.
Yeah, where it's a little less obvious that they're just pulling one.
Exactly.
I don't know if you saw the interview, but the Tres Amigas were on the Jerry O show this week.
I did.
I actually enjoyed it. This was her first time, Vicky's first time commenting publicly about it. Although, like, you know, she's been hinting in places, and we had a little back and forth, and it wasn't as amicable as Bravo wants everyone to think.
Right. I did love that she went to Andy Cohen whenever, like, she knew she was going on the show and said, what do I say? What do I say? I think he had some really nice words for her, though. That was, nobody lasts 14 seasons. You're still the OG of the OC.
Yeah, I mean, but they put her in a position where it's embarrassing.
It is.
What's the first question she's going to get? Why aren't you full time? Now she's going to carry that through the whole 23 weeks the show's going to air.
Yeah.
She should be back. I know not everyone will agree with us, though. People are glad that she's off. Even though she's still on, that she's not holding a fruit in the beginning, as I say. I mean, whatever. Right. But, I don't know. She's part of the show.
She is. And I will say, I hope this is one lesson for all of the franchises, though, that everyone's replaceable. Because I've said this on a couple different forums, but my biggest pet peeve right now is the OGs playing moderator rather than diving in.
Oh, totally. I say holding the show hostage.
It's
I've
so
said this
annoying.
For a long time. Yeah.
Sitting there and be like, well, this person said this, the bone collectors, and just kind of throwing everybody together.
Is a good example
exactly.
of this.
Tamra really, I do love Tamra, but I think for the past couple seasons, she has been very much a moderator between all the people and like just having everyone hash their issues out, but not really necessarily diving in.
Yeah.
And that's Lisa Vanderpump. She likes to play moderator.
She's killed that show.
Yeah. So I think huge lesson to learn as an OG from this demotion.
Yeah. Well, Kelly Dodd seems to be opposite most of the cast as of now, current day. There's going to be this video recording that I'm excited to see play out. And not just the pig stuff. There's other things coming that people aren't aware of that are being recorded. And we'll talk about that as it comes up on the Real Show. But I'm very excited about all of that stuff.
I am too.
We need something to look forward to, especially after Beverly Hills. Tamra told Us Weekly there's a fine line between damaged and evil, and I think she's evil, referring to Kelly. I think Kelly's a little damaged.
I think she's damaged. I do not think
evil, like for the influence of the devil. I mean, come on.
When you watch her lash outs, I think back to her first season. It's all a defense mechanism. You can tell. It's all of her lash out. She's not inherently evil. It's just her way of
she's
flashing
like
back.
Easily triggered?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Easily triggered.
Yeah. Well, Vicky did chase down Kelly at Tamra's housewarming this week. Which was fantastic.
That was amazing.
Even though it literally went nowhere, I was still okay with it.
I don't want to talk to you, Vicky.
All the wide shots. I was like, all of this beautiful Kono home. And you just see not really running, but like trying to get away from her.
Literally chasing her around the house. That's incredible.
I loved it. Just like this show, like you said, it's been a little slower. I always view it as a lighter one of the Housewives. It's always been kind of light to me compared to others, but I don't mind. I'm entertained. I know what I'm getting. It's a comfortable pair of shoes for me. I love the show, and that's all. That's really like the most I have to say. I'm into it. We're 2 episodes in. Let's see what happens.
We have to talk about the best casting decision in a while, Bronwyn.
Easy fit,
Easy.
Right?
She's like a Dorinda. She's like a Margaret. They just meld right into the group, and honestly, she is going to be so perfect this season.
Yeah. I noticed they pulled out the mom real early on, which usually they've done that in the past with Lydia when there was nothing else going on. Lydia had nothing else to show. So I was a little concerned about that. But she's got the love den, the 7 kids, the husband who's attractive. I'm like, okay.
And right. I do know they are going to get into some really serious issues coming this season. I'm not going to ruin what it is. But I think her and her family are really going to help a lot of families across America that are watching. And I'm excited to see, sort of how Rinna's kids are, coming forward with their issues. They're going to have that sort of scenario.
So it sounds like as a family, they're going headfirst into this show.
They are going to tear down all the walls and put everything out there.
And I read that Bronwyn watched the show, all seasons of the show.
Oh,
so she's very familiar.
Yeah. And That is another thing that I applaud her. I hate when housewives come on and they're like, "Oh, I've never seen
They
this
all
before."
say that.
Oh, come on. You've watched every episode.
Yeah.
You need to do your home. You're not going to, you're going to research an acting role or like a book or anything before you go in and commit to doing anything.
That's why it made me laugh when she was at the housewarming party and wasn't introduced to Vicky. She didn't know who Vicky was. And I was like, oh, come on. They've had to have met.
I know.
mean, come on.
Did you see I think the clip for next week, Vicky calls her Brownwind or Braunwind. She doesn't even know how to pronounce her name.
It took me a little bit to like wrap my mind around it. There's a lot of letters. There's a Y and a W. Like there's some letters in there. I'm like, hold on, my brain needs to catch up.
And her mom is so cool. She's
very cool.
So cool.
I don't want to get into too much of the drama with Tamra's son, Ryan. There's just such a mess. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Tamra, there's a bunch of stuff with her son and his baby mama, and Tamra just basically said, like, she washed her hands of it, not my circus, not my monkeys. I mean, he's so low class.
He's a dark character.
Yeah.
Very, very dark to watch.
There's an instance of recording and police preventing him from seeing his kids, allegedly. I don't know. This is a mess that even I don't want to get into.
Yeah.
So.
I watched the recording of him like showing up to the house, and he was interacting with a couple police that were there. And then obviously Sarah was outside on the doorstep, and it was wild to see him going live during all of that. That's a very personal family matter.
He was on Instagram Live?
And
I have no respect for that.
This is only going to hurt the daughter. It's not going to help him at all. So.
No. And if he was a nobody, I doubt he'd be on Instagram Live because he has some following from the show. It's clearly just capitalizing on that. It speaks to who he is. At some point you're going to grow up.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because his daughter doesn't have the best examples now. And it's because we are a cycle, unfortunately, that the kid is now caught up in.
And it's, I'm not saying, none of us know what's going on between the two, but it's none of our business. Like I don't know if Sarah does other things that prevents him from seeing her. We don't need to know all of that stuff. There's no reason for him to be going live during that personal matter. It doesn't. But anyhow.
Anyway, moving on. Hopefully, we will see less of him. There has been rumors that he's quit the show, even though they stopped filming.
Yeah.
So,
well, he doesn't have an option at this point because they filmed already. Yeah, so they can use that footage.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So we won't see him
next season.
Next year. I mean, nobody wants to see him. Anyway, I think the fact that he's such an avid Trump supporter turns a lot of people off that already didn't like him. Mm-hmm. So, and that's his prerogative, of course. But I don't think he's going to be missed, is what I'm saying. Yeah. A lot of people have been turned off by Ryan for a long time.
I do have to give a shout out to Spencer Barney, her other son. Yeah. Awesome. Like the standing up for against his brother. I thought that was great.
It's hard, I have family members that I'm very close with, like 1 degree of separation from, who are heavily into Make America Great Again culture. It's tough. And I can understand and I can relate to them seeing how tensions can rise in a matter of seconds.
Absolutely.
And how you can say things you really regret. I'm so guilty of this.
Yeah.
So it was relatable. I know people don't want to see it on their TV. They want to be, find a land of escape. But that's America these
reality.
Days. That's what's happening in this country.
It's true.
Elsewhere in the United States, in Potomac, who actually lives in Potomac right now? Is it just Monique? Who actually has the zip code?
Just Monique.
Okay. One out of 7.
I think Karen is moving back to Potomac.
Well, she should.
Yes.
So at the time of recording this podcast with Steven, the Cayman Islands episodes have not aired. That's tonight. So we're going to take a look back at kind of like how we feel about this season, but also I wrote down a few things of why I actually like Potomac. When it was announced, this was in early days of Grant's Rants. With Dallas and Potomac were announced together, and I had no interest in Potomac. I said, I don't even know, that region I'm not really interested in. There's so much on the East Coast. Who cares? I really didn't enjoy the show until maybe about a year ago, last season. And now I am all in, and I really enjoy it, and I'm going to give them some credit.
Yes.
I'm going to give Potomac credit because they found their footing. The casting is good. They've got a lot going on. So I'm going to go over the top 4 things that I like about it. You can feel free to jump in whenever.
Love to.
So first thing is the episodes are long, yes, but there's a lot going on in them because everyone has something. Everyone has a moment. Everyone is trying to pursue something outside of just spreading information. So I'm like, okay, I appreciate this. I get a lot out of it.
Yes. They weren't actually supposed to be a Housewives. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be these strong, affluent black women in a predominantly white area, and they ended up changing it to Real Housewives of Potomac because it fit the format. But it was really exciting so I lived in DC during this time, so I had heard all the rumblings of this happening and this potentially going on. And earlier seasons, I feel like there were more filler episodes where there were ones where you're like, that wasn't that awesome of an episode.
Right.
This season, like you're saying, everyone has a moment. I feel like there has been 0 filler episodes. There's always been something big going on in each episode that keeps you pulled in. And I think this has been a magical season for them.
And the production company, True Entertainment, they do Atlanta as well. They produce Atlanta, correct? They are doing a great job at kind of breaking the fourth wall and showing people, not behind the scenes or anything, but we're seeing production is coming up, and we're hearing producers' voices, and this is how it's done. These shows don't fall out of the air. I mean, there's a real effort. Each one of these housewives has a producer behind them. This is how it is.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, because now we're in some of these seasons we just talked about. 14 seasons deep. We know that these are produced shows. So it's okay to kind of say hey, this is part of a production on a network. We're not just peering into the living rooms of Robin Dixon.
Right.
I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's I like that they're going there and that Bravo's even allowing all that, because reality TV has come so far. We know that there's a lot happening.
There's a lot behind the scenes. Yeah. Exactly.
So the second reason I like Potomac is they're not totally aware of the reality TV game yet. All of them. Some of them, they know their way around, but I just like that we're not trying to see anyone really become an A-lister out of this, where some of the others, I mean, I'm so, everyone on Beverly Hills I can't stand. Nene, she tried it and is still trying it. I don't think she's getting very far.
Yeah.
But I just like that these women are we live here. We're flipping houses here. I'm not trying to get cast in a pilot in LA. They live their lives on camera.
I think they are doing really well with showing that there is some genuine friendships there, and they're actually going through some dramatic moments, and a lot of them knowing each other for a long time. There's deep rooted history. Karen and Gizelle's history goes way, way back. So no one, and you can tell they're kind of vying for that Queen Bee of Potomac status.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the ladies, I mean, my third reason why I like Potomac Housewives is Monique and Karen. Monique Samuels is my favorite one on the show. I just think she's so relatable and real, and just literally laughs it off.
She is.
A little red-faced mad, and she's just laughing at them. Will you relax? We're going to joke about this now.
Yes.
And she isn't playing, she's been pregnant the whole season. And keep in mind, this was shot, this is my biggest problem with the show, is it was shot 10, 11 months ago, July of 2018.
Yeah, they started the last week of July and wrapped the beginning of November.
I mean, there's an expiration date at some point. I mean, it's at what point, how are you going to get people fired up? And I know they will, but at the reunion, when it's something that happened a year ago and you have to still you still have to carry that fire and that anger with you. I'm you know what? That was 9-10 months ago. Just forget it.
Exactly.
By now, you've probably done 6 other things.
Yes, exactly. That was my biggest pet peeve this year, was waiting on Potomac to come back, because normally it should have come back in February, March, but I think Beverly Hills screwed everything with programming up. Well, if you notice, because
they screwed everything up for me. My whole year, I'm still recovering. I love that soundbite, by the way. So I love Monique, and Karen's great TV. I mean, she's just fantastic for the show.
So I think Karen has had such a great evolution, because I'll be honest, in her early seasons, season 1, she had that sort of Countess air from, you remember early season Countess, where she's very I'm a Countess.
Above it all.
I'm above it all.
Yeah.
And Karen sort of gave that off in the early season. And then she kind of got in on letting her hair down, realizing she's really funny.
Letting that wig slip.
Letting a wig slip. Like she realized how funny she really is if she just lets some of the I'm the grand dame down.
She's a lot more human this season, even with the loss of her parents, and we're seeing her with her sister, and it's just a different element. Yeah.
And shout out to the hair doc for making these wigs all season long. She looks so good this season. Her wigs are on point.
Much better. Yes. And last reason I like it is that none of the women are household names. I really don't dislike any of them except Gizelle. I think Gizelle is trying to be a household name. I really don't care for her. I wouldn't be friends with her. I don't like how she does business. I don't like how she's friends with Robin, but runs around and does other things. Like, I know Robin must know, like, that's TV Gizelle, because they have to separate. I mean, if that was my friend, if the way she behaves, I don't care for her. She's the one person I'm very unimpressed by.
So my evolution with Gizelle, I loved her season 1. That was my favorite housewife. And then as soon as Monique came on the scene, I have loved Monique since she came on. We've become friends. I'm friends with her brother, so we've become good friends with her and her family. I love them. And I immediately had a bad taste in my mouth for Gizelle as soon as season 2 happened, because you could just see the jealousy that it was. There was no, like, you could have seen them as a strong duo, honestly. Those two, I think they would be really good as, like, they'd be funny together. Giselle. Yeah, Monique and Gizelle. I would have thought that they would have been so fun to watch together. And you can just tell Gizelle has this underlying jealousy for it, I feel like. Yeah. And that's my opinion. I think each season they show, like, they'll bring something up that Gizelle did or said, and she tries to deny it, and then they'll throw footage back that shows that she did exactly
every time.
And she can't, like, admit her wrongs or anything. And
the whatchamacallits guys call her Jizz. And that's how I refer to her as. That's how I refer to her. Yeah. Because I don't really enjoy her.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, the reunion is coming up. Something to look forward to. Andy Cohen says that it's great, big, drama, and funny. I mean, it could be 3 hours of a friend of the Housewives arguing, and he'd say the same thing. And he did about Beverly Hills Housewives.
That is true.
So, I mean, that tweet I take with, like, a large, huge grain of salt, the size of this table, because I'm like, whatever. I mean, I don't need your endorsement. It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad. But I'm going to be watching.
I have a feeling that it'll be very, very good, because those women know how to throw shade and get dramatic, but also be really funny at the same time. That is one reunion I am not worried about.
No. Gizelle is sitting next to Andy. Then the other side of Andy is, what's her face? Ashley, which is well-deserved. I think Candace should be in that spot.
I am very upset that Giselle has the seat next to Andy.
She has no reason and no business to be in that number one spot. I have been talking about this all season long, because I was like, the two people that deserve the seats next to Andy are Ashley and Candace. They have driven this season so much. And I was like, I did not, I was like, are they going to actually drop Karen and Gizelle into the middle seat? I don't know. And then when I saw that Ashley got it and then Gizelle still kept it, I was so mad, because there is no reason that she deserves that seat. The concept here, for those unaware, is like those who sit closest to the middle next to Andy are the more important ones of the season that have the most to discuss, which I think is such like a nonsense, like high school rule. I personally hate it because it's an ensemble show.
Right.
But there's a lot of weight, and Bravo throws this out there because they put out videos, they play it up where who's sitting where.
Well, it's so funny, because if you think back to the early seasons of all the franchises, they never mentioned Bravo never, like, mentioned the seating chart and all of that stuff. Once the fans started, like, drumming up who's sitting next to Andy, then they started coming out with these interactive videos, because it's become such a huge, important factor.
They're a 2-minute video. They move very slow.
Yeah.
They could literally put up a meme and go, like, the date. Like, I mean,
it's so dramatic.
It's so dramatic. There's music, let the drama unfold. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I will be watching. Let's get into my rant of the day.
Grant Rant of the Day.
Todd Chrisley and his wife. They are indicted on tax evasion and financial crimes. He's got a daughter that allegedly has a sex tape with someone from The Bachelor that her stepbrother wants to release, or bought a sex tape of his stepsister. I can't stand Todd Chrisley. Can't stand him. So I was actually kind of glad to hear about this.
Did you see what their defense on all of this was? Apparently someone that was doing their finances
It's always someone
forged all of their signatures, and they allegedly had been dealing with this case for a long time, and it was supposed to be behind them, and then now all of a sudden they are bringing it up again, and they're indicted and being charged with the crimes. Allegedly, this was all behind them at some point. Like, it was dismissed, and now it's all back. And
I work with people who work with them as clients, and there was some buzz about things going on, and they said it's all going to happen tomorrow, and the next day it all broke. And I was like, interesting.
What is it with people thinking they can get away with these financial crimes? You know, I don't know. Obviously, we don't know what's true and what's not. But like, if it is true, why do people have the balls to think that they'll get away with a crime like this?
I don't care for him. I have no interest in him. I don't care for the show. I had to go on an interview years ago at USA where his show airs, and it was for Unscripted, and I had to like really sell it that I knew this show, and even I couldn't fake it. I mean, you know me. I either like it or I don't. I'll let you know. And I was like, this I keep calling him Chris. His name is Todd. No, I have no interest, and especially that there's a sex tape involved. Messy, and go away. We don't need to see you come back and do a whole like Abby Lee Miller return to the spotlight situation. This has been my rant of the day.
That's my opinion.
I was never invested in this show whatsoever, so
I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Good luck. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk more with Steven. I want to talk about one of my all-time favorite shows, Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath. It's actually coming to an end, but it's kind of a good thing what they're doing. So let's talk about that, and then we're going to talk about the Instagram, Faces by Bravo.
Woo!
That and more in a moment. Now this.
You're listening to Grant's Rants. Subscribe and spread the word. There are a lot more rants to come. Listen anytime on all major podcasting platforms. And now, back to the show.
And we're back on the rants, and I'm still sitting across from Steven, and we had a nice chat during the break. We're talking about dogs. I want to mention it, I'm kind of a new dog owner myself. For those who follow me on social, you've met Kelly, and you've heard her opinions. She's a little talking dog. She really doesn't like Lisa Vanderpump. I wonder where that came from.
Yeah, where did she get that?
Yeah. But I love my little dog. For those who have not seen her, she's like a terrier mix. She's blonde.
She's adorable.
Brown eyes. Yeah, thank you. I love having her, and she's been asleep the whole time we've been recording. So
she's been so good.
Yeah,
no little footprint or foot taps. In the mic.
No. So she'll be joining the podcast. If you hear a little noise in the background, you'll know who it is. So I'm very happy to have her, and I'm glad that she can handle the rants. Woo. And still sleep. Let's talk about this A&E's Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath. I've always been obsessed with Scientology for all the wrong reasons, meaning
it's fascinating.
It's fascinating. It's whacked. I mean, they should not be I was going to say Twitter verified. No, they should not be IRS certified.
I know.
Basically, her show is ending after these 3 seasons, but it's not canceled, which I'm glad they pointed this out. New York Post says that she ended it herself. It was her decision. There's going to be a 2-hour special before a live audience of former Scientologists. And so she's really kind of ending it in a big way. I see this kind of like the MJ Michael Jackson Finding Neverland. You know how they ended it with the Oprah special?
Yeah.
I kind of see it like that. An audience full of former Scientologists. They're talking about Danny Masterson, who has 4 accusers against him for sexual assault.
Wow.
So that's kind of why I draw the two together.
That'll be a very impactful, I think, closing of the show.
Yeah.
For sure.
They're obviously going after Danny for the alleged sexual abuse, which they should. They said that these 4 women's stories are similar, so there's a pattern. But also they are suing the Church of Scientology for stalking, because this is what happens. They accused a Scientologist, Danny Masterson, of all of this. And, once you go to the authorities, you're considered a suppressive person. And then from there, you're open to harassment and all types of surveillance and abuse. This is part of a policy, their fair game policy in Scientology.
That is just so wild. So I drive past the Scientology church on the way to work every day that I work at the hospital. And so when I first moved here and I was driving that way, I would always see all these people at a bus stop right outside this specific building, all dressed in the same uniforms and all of that. I was like, who are these people? And then come to find, I think they are employees of the Scientology church. And I think they must pay for them to live in this.
They do have housing for the Sea Org.
So that's what I'm wondering, because this is, in the research that I've done on Scientology, you have to be very wealthy, obviously, to be a member of the church, right? Essentially. I was wondering, how do the people that, work the front desk, where any security, any sort of people that give tours, or I don't know, any sort of the maintenance people, they don't just let people into that environment. They'd have to have some sort of.
Well, in my opinion, they turn them into indentured servants.
And then do you think that they probably pay for their housing to live in these?
Yeah.
That's kind of you live rent free, but you have to.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And it's there's, if you're in that Sea Org and you leave, you owe them a bill of money. There's a special term for it, but you owe the church money for basically taking care of you. It's a freeloader's bill. I believe that's the name of it.
Wow.
And, that's why people can't leave. Not only are they going to lose their friends and their family and their lifestyle, but now they owe the church money that they don't have because they don't work at Walgreens or work in a bank.
Right.
So that's another way they can kind of keep you in that servitude, which is terrible. It's a cult, in my opinion.
It is so scary.
But they have that fair game policy that the creator of Scientology put into place, and it basically calls for all this type of harassment. And all these things are alleged as far as if the church did it or not, but the women that are coming forward and suing the church say that one of their children's window was broken, they were victims of vandalization, fraud, and threats.
Wow.
This has all been covered on Leah's show. This is a practice. So, it sounds accurate to me if that's the way it's going to go. I'm definitely going to be watching this. This is going to be airing on August 26th on A&E. I've watched every part of the show. I think it's so well produced, well done, well researched. They cover their behinds with they have put up the big text from the Church of Scientology, who they're kind of refuting these charges or these claims. This Danny Masterson episode and interviews, they were recorded months ago. And they ran into a lot of legal problems, and they also received threats as well. So they never really put this out there. They kind of kept it on ice and waited. And now this is the time that they're going to put it out there. Wow. So I'm very interested to see what is so scathing in these interviews.
Absolutely.
So I never cared for Danny Masterson. He was on that 70s show, if anyone remembers him. He's one of those people where I can't even look at his pictures because I just think he's so guilty, and that's my point of view.
I really need to go back and watch this show because I started it when it first came out, and then I don't know, I got lost as far as probably keeping up with my Bravo shows. So I need to go back and rewatch.
It did take kind of a dark tone for a while. It was really heavy about, sexual assault and, child abuse.
Oh, God.
But then it kind of comes back this last season where it talks more along the lines of how this is all allowed and the structure of church versus church and state and all that. So it's a little less dark. So if you wanted to skip the second season, it might be a little heavy. But I think it's a fantastic show and very well done. I'm sad to see it go, but I definitely think it served its purpose.
Great.
So, yeah. So moving on, let's completely, I don't know how to transition from that to your Instagram, but, you know, let's get into it. Again, it's Faces by Bravo. I guess you could say a curated Instagram. The OG of the OC, Vicky herself, just this morning shared a post from it.
She did?
Yeah, she shared it on her. She said she didn't at you, but she put it on the Tres Amigas, the old version.
Well, the reason why I didn't see it was because I am blocked by Mrs. Vicky Gunvalson. So that's why I am actually very shocked that she reposted.
Yes.
Thank you. This is great that you told me this.
Yeah, I'll pull it up right now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Victoria blocked me ages ago.
I wonder why.
Well, because I did a transition of
her face.
I did. So when I started, I was looking at season 1, like taking Bravo celebrities and looking at their evolution over all of their seasons, and then throwing like fun fact, like notable moments on their time as the
sounds harmless enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think people can get a little harmful in the comments, I think.
Yeah.
But but then I like started, it wasn't giving me as much joy to like do all of that. I was like, I want to start doing more memes, and I transitioned into doing that and focusing more on brackets as far as like who's the favorite housewife, who's the best supporting character, who's the hottest house husband, best non-Housewives Bravo show, like in my stories, doing more trivia. I do Trivia Tuesdays.
Yeah, it's interactive. Like I submitted a question, and you got the question answered by that lovely real estate agent.
Yes, Lori,
Dorinda's real estate agent.
She's amazing. She was so fascinating, by the way. I hope we do see a little more of her next season.
They have to find a way.
I think she's going to be helping Dorinda find a new apartment. So, or rent out her apartment.
Oh, well, I'm sure they'll find a way to put her in there. But yeah, Vicky Gunvalson says herself, she said, "Thanks Faces by Bravo for capturing the Tres Amigas at our finest." And it's the version of the three of them as the old beat up, like the bandage on their face.
Yes, I posted that yesterday. Because they all showed their facelifts while they were on TV, so it was so great. Oh, that's amazing.
And shout out to fan of the show and also has appeared, Christian Grace Snow, commenting, saying, "Don't forget Vicky walked so all these other housewives could run. Happy Sunday, Vicky G."
Oh my gosh! Well, thanks, Vicky. Please unblock me.
Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, we should think about like how much you support the shows.
Yeah.
And, you keep these women employed, for Christ's sake. She should at least unblock you.
Yeah.
But, I wanted to kind of like describe like what people would get. You mentioned the brackets and, there's some videos if you go down deeper. There's some other features, like the one that I went to, the Real Housewives Face Swap, a series no one asked for.
Yes, the series that literally no one asked for.
Describe this.
So randomly, I'll just get random ideas in my head that are just make no sense. Like, why would I come up with doing that? But basically, a while back I did a face swap with putting Andy Cohen on Lisa Rinna because her iconic hair. It's just I thought that would be funny. He loved it. She loved it. And I did that, I would say, like a month or two ago. And then I randomly was thinking, what kind of face swap should I do now? And I thought, let me take all of the housewives, like the promos, photos that you see on like Hulu and stuff, because it was just a lot neater. And swapping them with either their husbands, ex-husbands, or lovers, or whatever you want to call it. And it seriously went viral because all of the housewives started sharing it, reposting it, and like even ones that I've tried posting things and memes about them before and have never interacted, posted like Nene Leakes, Bethany Frankel. It was so awesome. And I'm glad that everyone could laugh about it because it was,
they're very well done.
Thank you.
It's not like bad Photoshop. Like it's with their full hair.
Yeah.
Just with their like husband's face.
And it's so funny to see, who looks good with a wig on, essentially.
But no, it's perfect because it's highly shareable. It must have drove so much traffic to you.
It did, and
because you covered every city.
Mm-hmm. So I did every city, and then I decided that I'll try and do one every Friday. So I did the Pump Rules cast, then I did Married to Medicine. My next one I think will probably be Southern Charm. The thing that'll be hard with some of those is I'll probably, for Southern Charm, maybe I'll just face swap with their cast members. Maybe just choose because I don't think they all, have dated people that are prominent on the show. So.
I wonder how, is this an idea off the top of my head? I wonder how it would look if you put in old faces with the new cast photo.
So I did do that do you remember at Christmas time they did OG All Ye Faithful?
Yes.
So I put their season 1 promo photo on the OG All Ye Faithful promo photo, which was so funny.
Stevens are ahead of the game. Smart.
It was so funny. But I really love doing it because I found that this Instagram is a great outlet of getting out my thoughts on all things Real House. If anyone who knows me, I speak Bravo better than I speak English. Like, it is my heart and soul. I love it. And being able to sort of talk with my people and interact with my people in the Bravo community is just, it's a really great creative outlet, and I enjoy it.
You've had a lot of success. I mean, these things are being shared all over the place. That must be an interesting trip.
It is. I mean, because I never anticipate it going as wild as it has. Like, it's my 1 year was in June, end of June, and it's really taken off, and I really enjoy it, and I thank everybody that has supported it.
And you mentioned, you have a full-time job.
I do.
Another job on top of all this.
Yeah. So it was very hard starting it because once you get that momentum, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. Now it's a lot because it's going, growing still at a nice steady pace. I can take a breath a little bit and, not feel as if I have to be on my phone constantly, because that is one thing that's very hard. It feel like sometimes you don't feel present, and you got to remember to still be present in your daily life. So
I mean, running one of these meme, I guess you could say, Instagrams. I mean, it is a ton
of work, and you always have to be thinking ahead. Like, you're watching the episodes and seeing like what little bits can be turned into something, or looking back at old GIFs. I don't even know how to pronounce it, whichever it is. Seeing how they could be, put into something relatable, or even just looking back at old clips that you forgot about that are like beautiful housewives moments, or iconic housewives moments. I forgot how great season 6 was with New York, and I was going back at the Berkshires, and Ramona was just so entertaining. And Sonia, like those episodes, going back and just rewatching, finding things. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like you're like playing little treasures.
Yes, exactly.
Blast out into the world. Remember this? I know eventually, I feel like there's so much of a look back now at Housewives. Eventually people are going to run out of things.
I know, yeah,
there's
seriously.
a lot going on of like, remember this, remember that, all these iconic moments. But people love it. People love it, and they're sharing it. And
I think Chrissy Teigen said it best. The only thing better than a new Housewife episode is an old Housewife episode. And that stands true for sure when I take my look backs.
Well, especially, I mean, never. I'm going to slam Beverly Hills. I'm not going to slam Beverly Hills. Well, with that, I will agree. I'll leave it there. But yeah, I mean, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. I had such a great time.
Yeah, this was easy, very easy. I appreciate it.
Very easy.
For those listening, we had not met prior to this. We went back and forth, of course, the text and DMs, but this is very natural, and this was great. So
it was a great fit, and I loved it. And I will come back anytime you'll have me.
Well, we'll do it.
Perfect.
Sounds good. I love you guys for listening. Thank you for putting up with a little bit of a summer delay. I've been on my paternity leave, but she's all settled now. So let's continue with the rants and get into it, especially as we get into this fall season. We've got good stuff coming up with OC and Dallas.
Married to Medicine.
Yep, that's coming up. And then fall TV on network, if we want to talk about that. There's just a lot of stuff. Finally, things are going to come back. Like, the summer's always slow, especially with news. So I'm ready for things to start up, and we'll be here to cover it. I love you for listening, and as always, we'll be back with more rants.
This has been Grant's Rants. Support the Rants on Patreon at patreon.com/Grant's Rants. Follow Grant on Twitter and Instagram at It's Grant's Rants. Cover art created by Howie Ronay. Voiceover by Original theme music by Alexander Arntzen. The Grant Michael Collection.